Alright, if you're anything like me, you watch the Game Awards every year, and you're interested in the awards. They're alright, but the real thing that's really there, the real thing you're watching for is the trailers and the releases and the little looks we get at all the new games and all the games releasing soon, right? This is what we're here for. This is what we want to see, in my opinion. So today we're just going to have a look at the trailers that I found the most interesting. I got 4 or 5 here that I thought were probably the coolest. These aren't all of them. I encourage you to check out all the trailers and let me know which ones you find the most interesting, which ones you're excited for, but we're just going to go over my favorites. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. The first trailer we got at the Game Awards this year was a big one. It is the new game in the Old Republic series. Star Wars, the Old Republic, you know, Knights of the Old Republic, the original game. This one's called Fate of the Old Republic, and it's developed by Arcanaut, and it looks cool. I mean, it was only a cinematic trailer, so we don't have much to chew on. We do know that it looks amazing, and the main character will be carrying a blue lightsaber. That's pretty much it. We didn't get much. It looks great, you know. It's got all the fancy graphical things that you'll want in a new game. It's, you know, the ray tracing, the water looks great. That's kind of the first thing you saw. But there's not really much to go off of here. With that being said, I do hope they stick with the formula of, you know, the older Knights of the Old Republic games. Fully fledged RPG mechanics, you know, dialogue choices, all those things. I do love the Respawn Jedi games, but I want a more RPG focused game rather than just an action adventure, just to, you know, differentiate itself from that series that we already have that's already great. So hopefully we see more from this one. I don't know when that'll be. It looks like it's pretty early in development because it was only a cinematic trailer. There was no gameplay. We didn't really see anything at all. So hopefully we get more. I'm excited. Moving on. Next up, we got a good look at a new Yakuza game. Now, it's not called Yakuza, but it's developed by the founder of the Yakuza series. So it's kind of in that world, right? It's a lot more dark and violent and, you know, gritty than what we typically see from Yakuza, where those games are more like colorful and goofy. This looks like a true Japanese mafia game that's going to be pretty violent. I'll show the trailer, I'll show as much as I can because there was a lot of blood, but it looks intense, and I'm excited for that. I'm not the biggest fan of Yakuza, but if they go a direction that's more, you know, real and dark and those kind of things, that's definitely something that I could be into. This one is reportedly deep in development, but we still don't have a release date. Star Wars fans were eating good at the Game Awards because we got another Star Wars game. It is Star Wars Galactic Racer, and this is probably the one I'm most excited for. It's a Star Wars themed kart racer, if you could say that. It's set after the fall of the Empire, so right after the 6th movie or 3rd original movie. And the narrator in the trailer talks about rebuilding the racing scene after the Empire took over and kind of outlawed it. But the story is not what I'm interested in here. The gameplay looks incredible. It looks super fast. The destruction looks great, you know, crashes and all those things, they look amazing. And the amount of different vehicles we saw land speeders, speeder bikes, what looked like pod racers, all in a vast array of tracks and maps, and it just looks great. It looks like a lot of fun. My hope for this is that we get a very deep customization option when it comes to upgrading your speeders or pod racers or whatever. I want to be able to spend like hours just tweaking, upgrading, visual upgrades, all these things, and I think that would make a great game. I also hope this has a couch co-op mode. I hope that you can play against up to 3 friends, like local multiplayer, kind of like Mario Kart, but in Star Wars. I think that would really help. It is going to be multiplayer, but I hope it also has that local multiplayer option. Anyways, this one is releasing sometime in 2026, and I cannot wait. Perhaps the highest profile trailer or trailers we got from the Game Awards was Tomb Raider. They released 2 trailers announcing 2 new games coming back to back in 2026 and 2027. They're both developed by Amazon, and they are Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst. The first one releasing will be Legacy of Atlantis, and it will be a kind of reimagining of the original Tomb Raider game. I don't think it's going to be a remake. I don't think they're going to call it a remake at all. Well, they haven't, but I don't think they're going to brand it as a remake. But I think it's going to be more, telling the same story with a completely new game on top. And the second one, coming in 2027, is Catalyst, and it's going to be a brand new story. And both these games look great. They don't look too dissimilar. I mean, I'm not really sure why they decided to do both in the same, reveal, but they do look great. The platforming looks awesome. The visuals look amazing. The voice acting in the trailers were top tier. And I'm just excited for more Tomb Raider. I mean, how can you not be excited for more Tomb Raider, right? Either way, these ones releasing next year and the year after, definitely keep my eye on these ones. They look great. Audio Mech is probably the one I'm the most interested in. Even if that means I'm not the most excited for it, I just think it's a really cool concept. It's a flashy, neon, bright shoot 'em up where you input your own music and it changes the way the game plays. So it takes the treble, the bass, the vocal ranges, and turns it into a gameplay mechanic by making your character move differently, shoot differently, making the enemies different, all because of the music that you're inputting into the game. It's really cool, and there is a demo out now. I did play about 30 minutes of it, and the idea is there. It looks really cool, and it looks like something that can be really cool. It's not there yet. The movement isn't good, like, at all, and that's kind of disappointing because it looks in the trailer like the guy's like jumping around and things are going everywhere, and it does have a little bit of that, but you control your character with your mouse, and you have to be shooting to get off the ground and to fly around, and it just doesn't feel very responsive. I think it would feel a lot better if you moved around with your keyboard and shoot with your mouse, kind of like most games, but as of right now, you move and shoot with your mouse, and you right click to shoot right, left click to shoot left, and it just doesn't feel great. But the music part is awesome. Like, I was messing around with a bunch of different songs. I started off with some UK rap, and there was like heavy bass, and it was cool. And then I switched to Ode to Joy just to see what that would be like. And the spikes in volume of like a classical music song was really interesting and cool, even if it didn't really play as it probably should have, because I know you're not supposed to input classical music. It's definitely made for like EDM and like high, bass and treble songs. But when you're playing a song that has big spikes, when you go down into the parts where there's not much happening in the song, your character just doesn't do anything and the screen kind of feels flat. But then it builds up and it like goes crazy, and it's cool. Like, it's a really cool idea, and it's something that I'm definitely interested in keeping an eye on to see where they go for it. I just think that they really have to improve the movement. And once they got that, I think this is a really fun game. Highly recommend you check out the demo, even if it's just for a little bit. It's free on Steam, so no worries there. It's also just like 1 gigabyte, so why not check it out, right? I would highly recommend. So yeah, those were the games that I kind of found the most interesting. There was a lot more, and I definitely took out some that I could have talked about, but we'll talk about those a bit more in the weekly news that will be out on Monday. And yeah, let me know what caught your eye in the Game Awards. What trailers did you find interesting? And what were the awards that shocked you? I think as far as my predictions, they were all pretty standard. I don't think there was any major upsets, really. Maybe Clair Obscur Expedition 33 winning indie game was a bit strange. I know it is an indie game, but I probably would have given that to Ball Pit, but that's just me. Anyways, I've been Janky. Stay tuned for all the latest gaming news, controversies, and discussions, and I will catch you in the next one.